You can help support and promote the show by purchasing our merchandise at cafepress.com/Packard Pokes At, where you can choose from a variety of different items like hoodies, hats, and bears. Oh my! Put a Packard Pokes At mug in your hands today.
Do you like Packard Pokes At and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
You're on in 3, 2, 1.
This is Packard Pokes At, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokes At. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining us tonight from the far west coast, or actually, no, that'd be the east coast, the middle of nowhere, but somewhere's in there. It's it's Dave. You're damned.
I'm on a peninsula in the Midwest here.
Oh, is that where you are? Well, that's still the middle of nowhere.
I suppose.
And just from the far west coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
Have you ever fired your gun in the air and yelled, "Ah!" Me either, but sounds good. Hi.
Oh, well, we got some wonderful stories for you tonight, and we will be getting to those right now.
Building a better future, science and technology.
Oh, by the way, this is episode 153. I keep forgetting to mention that. I'm starting to try to do this, and I keep forgetting it.
Woohoo!
Batteries!
Let's start over.
Let's start over. Sure, let's over. Batteries are everywhere. And why do we use batteries? Well, because we got shit we got to plug in and take away and take with us where we can't have access to house current. And what a lot of the times we use batteries for are for things that we put inside our body, like sensors and whatnot. And
phew.
If you're thinking of other things, then you're on the wrong channel.
Or maybe you're on the right channel.
Maybe you're on the right channel. I don't know.
Lately.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Never mind. Anyway. The problem with some of these batteries is that a lot of them are rechargeable. I mean, when they put them inside the body, and it's a wireless recharge system, and that's a great and everything. But when they have to stick it in really far, like inside, like under bone or deep inside the body, trying to get the attachment to recharge those batteries for like drug delivery systems or even pacemakers or whatever, they have a hard time recharging. There's a new device. It's basically what it is. It's just a battery, but it's a biodegradable battery. So that way, if they put it inside the body, it degrades slowly and it still gives out a charge. So in places where you can't get those signals to recharge a battery, this is the best spot. And it's not only just for this application. We could put this into places like oil leaks or whatever, a sensor to find out where oil has been in places where it's not supposed to be. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, this sort of circuitry has been around for about 2 years as far as circuits that you could put inside the battery that would essentially disappear over time.
Right.
They still don't really know exactly what they're going to use it for.
Right.
And that's fine. I mean, there's all sorts of applications that they theoretically could use it for. They've had some issues in the past where silicon wasn't able to break down, and obviously silicon is not the best thing to have left over just hanging out in your body. Mm-hmm. But just as blowing up heads, Dave.
I seen that. Did you have anything else you want to add on to that, Dave?
Yeah, no, I think this is a great idea. I think that, in the past, those sort of things could have been recharged remotely. Now they're actually going to be able to be recharged by a battery that's inside of your body, or they can use it for, as you said, oil spills and things like that.
Right.
You can have a sensor that can be put into that area that can then dissolve over time and doesn't need that sort of maintenance, and is probably going to cut down on a lot of cost.
Right, exactly. Karen in the chat room thinks they're being charged by lemons and potatoes. So you just eat a bunch of lemons and potatoes to keep that battery charged right up.
That's right. Crude electrochemical batteries are also very useful.
Yes. So So when you drink up your lemonade, you might get some battery juice in there.
When life hands you lemons, make a crude electrochemical battery.
Right. Connie, your thoughts?
It's a tater tot. It's a battery. It's both.
I love me some tater tot batteries.
The applications, I was like, well, what would you use this for? And in our meeting, Dave was saying something about drug delivery, and I know we were talking, and it came up about antibiotics, and I go,
Yes.
that's the problem with antibiotics is that you're supposed to take it for 10 days or 14 days or whatever it is.
Right.
And everybody screws that up the last couple days. You forget, or you forget to take it at a certain time, and that really negates the efficacy of antibiotics. And so I could see where that would be really very useful in drug delivery, and I don't know exactly how this would work, but I think for Dave also suggested for diabetic, for some insulin uses, but I just had to look it up, like how they made this battery and all of and what was a material scientist. That's what this guy was. He's as material science or engineer. They also work in nanotechnology, so that kind of made a little bit more sense to me when we were talking about it. I'm like, oh, okay, they actually work on incorporating elements of applied physics and chemistry, and one of the things they work on is polyshore hydrates.
Polyshore's head, right. That's where you got to put the explosives. The ones Joe was talking about in the chat room. No.
So, exciting. I'm hoping that this is something that will be very useful in the future for certain drug applications. I think, well, that'd be really great. You just take it once, and or I don't know, maybe birth control. I don't know if that would work either, but
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes remembering to take your medication, if it has to be taken at a certain time, at a certain day, and if it's programmed in, that's really awesome.
Right.
So.
Yeah, now there was something, I had some concerns about this because they said that some of the stuff could be send out radio signals or whatever, so it can be the delivery of the drugs or whatnot, so when you get near a certain source, then it would go off.
Well, this battery eliminates the radio signals.
Oh, it doesn't? Well, I was just saying that it would be able to transmit it said here that the further research into both types of the batteries, and they were talking about a magnesium battery also, could eventually yield implantable drug delivery systems that are controlled by radio signals or that disperse pharmaceuticals in response to a specific acute problem such as epileptic seizures. Now, I was saying about the part there where they said that if it's a radio signal, let's say you get somebody that has they would go by in their old timey CB and it just happens to hit up in the right frequency, and then you have somebody who's got all of a sudden all their battery starts going crazy and they start getting drug delivery.
Yeah, I'm sure that they've tested out these wavelengths pretty well. They know what frequencies they're going to be using, and I'm sure they're unique frequencies.
Yeah, well, hopefully, but you never know. Just imagine someone getting in there. I'm going to fuck with somebody. Give me $10,000, or I'm going to up your dosage, and you'll.
Yes, soon people will be hacking people's batteries.
Actually,
I can think of a few people I wouldn't mind doing that to, but
actually, there was. This is back in the older PC days. There was actually a virus that would actually invade a computer battery, and it would stay in the memory of that. So even after you wiped out the hard drive or whatever, it still would stay in the battery. So hacking a battery is not unheard of, actually. So a little different story, but it's semi-related, I guess.
And if Isaac Asimov were around to write a book about this.
I know. What would he think of this? Dawkins Dogs in the chat room. Battery-powered contraception from Duracell. I can only see it now. Speaking of seeing things, let's get on to our next topic for this evening.
Well, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box.
We've said on the show, if you're going to go out and commit a crime, don't take a selfie of yourself after you've done it. Well, this joker over in Michigan, now no relation to Dave because he just happens to live there, named Jules Bahar, whatever his name is. He's 21 years old. Before he went to go rob a bank, which is what he did, he robbed 3 banks. He took a selfie of himself holding the weapon that he was going to use in the crime ahead of time before the crime. So he did kind of listen to us, said, hey, I'm not going to take a selfie before. You didn't say anything about taking it before. So pro tip for you criminals out there, or to-be criminals. 1, don't take a selfie of your weapon before you use it in a crime, and don't wear the clothes you're going to use in your crime. And 2, don't take a selfie after the crime, and show with the weapon you use or the cash that you stole or admit it on social media. That's exactly where this guy did. He took a picture of all this crap and he put it out on Facebook. And yes, the cops do troll Facebook. So please stop doing this. These people are not the criminal masterminds that they think they are. Dave, your thoughts?
Well, in the picture, he's wearing a digital watch. So, if he can't tell time, how does he know?
Right.
You know better. No, this is ridiculous. Apparently on February 26th, he robbed a bank. March 5th, he robbed a bank. March 5th, he posted his selfie of himself holding his weapon.
Right.
Oh, March 4th as well. So he's 3 different times that he had robbed banks, apparently. He got $7,000 on March 5th, though, which is pretty good for a bank robbery like that.
That's not bad. He should have walked out with 1.5 if he really want to be.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just walking in with a gun and robbing a bank, that's a pretty good haul.
Yeah, it's not bad for $7,000. Yeah.
He did a pretty good job up until the part where he posted pictures of himself on social media.
Right.
And nowadays they have all that facial recognition software. It's just you can't get away with that sort of stuff.
Absolutely not. No. He did cover up part of his face with the phone, which
that doesn't matter.
I know, that's what I was saying. They've got software that can fill in all that stuff. They just need just enough to fill all that information in there. Even if you're wearing a mask, they can figure out what the hell your shape face is under the mask. So if you think you're going to put a stocking cap on, and those days are long gone in this age. So
it kind of looks like he's going to shoot his cell phone in the picture.
Yeah, it does, or shoot himself in the hand. Fucking phone! I told you that you fucking do it as I told you.
He's not the best at gun safety, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. That barrel looks way too long for a little gun like that.
It's foreshortening.
Right. Kind of your thoughts.
CSI Facebook edition. Well, it's funny because social media has been around for a while now, MySpace and then Facebook. And in 2005, mostly Facebook was being used by college students, and the police were using it, but it was mostly just for incidents of alcohol violations. When I was researching this, I found out that in 2008, Cincinnati police officer Don Keating, the Special Units Real-Time Crime Center, worked with the University of Cincinnati to ID very important gang members using Facebook. And Fox News, okay, I know it's faux news, but Fox News said that she was the first police officer in Cincinnati to use the social network for evidence. And between 2009 and 11, there was an exponential increase in law enforcement using social media. So just say no to the selfie.
Just say no to selfie crime.
Yep. Well, even in the UK, there was a man who stole $130,000 of jewelry, and he went on a vacation and returned under an assumed identity and posted the pictures of his trip on Facebook, and the police monitored him and tracked him down. And so, yeah.
Oh,
I would have to say that we don't have that many brilliant minds who live a life of crime.
I guess not. This is not the age of the most criminal masterminds anymore. I mean, they're doing the stupidest thing. I think that's why they invented social media, to catch the stupid criminals.
Well, the funny thing is that if you look historically back at even the Wild West, it's really uncommon for people to have ever gotten away with bank robbery.
Right.
There's a misconception that back in the day that there are all these bank robbers and all that. That's not really the way that it worked. Most people who robbed banks at any point in history got caught.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if they didn't, they got them for tax evasion. Did you steal this money? Yes, but I didn't want to pay my taxes on it. Well, then you go.
They needed a better accountant, I guess.
Yes.
They needed to become a corporation.
You mean become a person?
Yes, they
Yeah,
want to become a person.
exactly.
Right, exactly. They want to be a corporation
A
person.
person on paper.
Right. Speaking of paper and things that are not real, I guess, I don't know. We're going to give you some information on how you can contact us and tell us what you think of tonight's stories. And we'll be back in a short while to ruin the rest of the show for you.
You should contact us by email at ppapodcast or packardpokesat@gmail.com, and follow the show on Twitter as @packardpokesat, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/packardpokesat, or just type Packard Pokesat into the Facebook search bar. Call our Google Voice at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and leave a short message and we will play it on the show. Join in the show live Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time at vaughnlive.tv/PackardPokesat. Download and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Mixler Radio, and watch the show on YouTube. Visit our show page at packardpokesat.wordpress.com for links to the stories, and purchase merchandise from cafepress.com/PackardPokesat to support the show. For everyone that rates us, you are awesome sauce.
Well, hello there. I'm Packard Sonic. I would like to take a moment to ask you to consider taking this and donate it once a month to my show, Packard Pokes At. To do this, just go to patreon.com/PackardPokesat and subscribe. That's only $0.25 a show. What else can you get for $0.25 these days and get so much entertainment? In fact, the first 5 people a month that donate $50 will get a hat of your choice from cafepress.com. With a donation of $100 or more, you get a t-shirt and a hat of your choice. However, if you're feeling really generous and want to support the show and wish to donate $200, you get not only your choice of a Packard Pokes At hoodie, but a t-shirt and a hat of your choice. Even if you decide to donate just one of these a month, every little bit helps. Thank you for watching. And we're back. Wow, that's Joe did a good job on that commercial, and I don't know who that other guy was, though. Some guy I hired just to sit inside a dollar bill. I don't know how the hell he did that. Anyway, let's get on to our next topic for this evening.
The lights are on, but you're not home. Your mind is not your own. There's no doubt you're empty.
And we've got our favorite punching bag tonight. No, well, not literally punching him, but figuratively speaking, is Brian Fuck the Tard Fisher. And we've got the little video. We're going to show you what he said, and he's always got something stupid to say.
I would be willing to say this without fear of contradiction, that we have never had a president who is hostile to Christian faith. Never. Not one time. This is unprecedented in the history of the United States to have a president who, rather than nourishes Christianity, who commends Christianity, who encourages expression of Christian faith, is now relentlessly and aggressively opposed to Christianity and to the Christian tradition. We've never seen this before, not in the history of the Republic. We've been in existence since 1776. What is that, 238 years? We have never in 238 years have we ever, a single solitary time, had a president who is overtly and aggressively hostile to the Christian faith, and now we do. Now, I'm not saying Barack Obama is the Antichrist. Don't misunderstand me. But the New Testament refers to the spirit of the Antichrist. And John says, even now, many Antichrists have come. Many men empowered with the spirit, the dark spirit of the Antichrist, have come. Now, that's the spirit that you see at work in Barack Obama. What is it? Again, I want to be clear here. I am not saying that Barack Obama is the Antichrist. I am saying that the spirit of the Antichrist is at work in him.
God, this guy is such a nutball. I mean, where's he get this stuff from? He must be sitting late at night at home, and in his rocking chair, and being just like, what crazy thing can I come up
Hold
with
on
today?
right there, Bob.
Whoops.
What kind of civilized people eat the body and blood of their savior?
Well, that's what happens when I start moving my iPads around. Brian Fisher must sit around in his rocking chair at night going, what kind of crazy ass thing can I come up with today? Whoa. This guy's a total nut job. I've just got a few points here. He says that Barack Obama was hostile to the Christian faith. First off, he's never heard of Thomas Jefferson, apparently. And basically, he also believes in the same God you do, Brian Fisher. Well, that's a topic for another day, I guess, because all this personal God bullshit. And he's opposed to it. How? He says he's opposed to it. He's opposed to Christianity. He's making Christians look bad. But he never cites exactly how. That's one of those straw man fallacies. And he said that he's got the spirit of the Antichrist in him. Again, the guy's a fucking Christian. Just because Brian Fisher, I think the reason why he doesn't like him, and this is just my own personal belief, he's a fucking bigot. And he's just one of these right-wing nutjob bigots, and he'll just say anything. And since and just to go back to the spirit of the Antichrist, there's no fucking proof of spirits. So where are you getting this from? Really, where are you getting this from? Dave, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I'm not saying that Brian Fisher is a cranky old man with bigoted views, but he just talks and acts as though he's a bigoted old man with, bigoted views.
Right.
Not that that's what he is.
Right.
I'm not saying that's what he is. I'm just saying that that's what he seems to do, and he's got the spirit of a bigoted old man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really not much more to say. That's what he is. I mean, seriously though, Obama just met with the Pope this week, and if you saw the pictures of them getting together, I would certainly say that he's not anti-Christian by any means.
Yeah. If they were shaking hands, the Pope's hands just start going, because
right. Well, the spirit of the Antichrist is clearly in the Pope as well. Then
yes, apparently.
But it's just absolutely absurd that people would say that. I mean, Barack Obama's participated in every prayer service that has gone on each year. He's been very approving of the Christian faith and very understanding of all faiths, really, to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. I can't say that I've been happy with everything that he's done, but I certainly, he's not been discriminating against anyone. As far as Thomas Jefferson's concerned, as you were talking before, I don't think that he was anti-Christian. I think that he was anti-miracles in the Bible. I mean, the Jefferson Bible, he's still.
Well, to many Christians, that would be anti-Christian because that's the whole. Well, a lot of their basis of their religion is the miracles and whatnot.
Well, that's a no true Scotsman.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of them. I didn't say all. I said a lot of them.
Well, okay, but the Jefferson Bible, I mean, what he did was he took a razor blade and chopped out anything that was a reference to a miracle, but he still left everything that was a reference to Jesus and said he was a good guy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know. He did take all the miracles and whatnot, but I mean, a lot of the Christians believe in all the miracle crap, so. Anything else, Dave?
No, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, what presidents have done with their religions has been a fascinating topic altogether. I mean, pretty much every president has misrepresented their religious background to one extent or one extreme or the other. I mean, Truman used to say specifically anti-Christian things.
Really? I was not aware of that. Like what?
Well, he did not want to be associated with that only because he didn't want to have people think that he was appealing to the church and he was trying to separate, church and state and all of that. But in his personal life, he was very Christian. So, I mean, they manipulate everything. They're politicians.
Yeah. Now, come to think of it, Kennedy was also, even though he was a Roman Catholic, he stated, I think, at one point, he said he was going to make sure that he keeps a separation of church and state, church and state separate.
Well, that was a very important thing. Actually, he was almost unelectable because of how Catholic he was, and everyone's fear at the time was that the Pope was going to be running the United States of America.
Right.
Yep.
So he had to. That's why there's so many quotes by Kennedy that are about the separation of church and state, because he really had to emphasize that in order to even be electable.
Right, exactly. And it made, what's his name, say he wanted to throw up because he said the guy who ran for president recently and was basically tossed out in his ear. All right. Connie, your thoughts?
Well, no one could be hostile to Christianity because, the organized church would just devour them.
Mm-hmm.
They can't even say that I have some doubt or I just, I don't believe in the Christian God. And see, the church wants exclusivity. They, people like Fisher specifically want to be the exclusive, we are the one, we are the true, religion, and God and Jesus are it. And that's why he's claiming that that's hostile. And it's very disingenuous the many times he says, well, I'm not calling him the Antichrist. I'm not calling him the Antichrist. The more you protest, the more you're driving home that, and the many times he uses the word Antichrist, even though he calls it the spirit of the Antichrist, doesn't matter at all. And what's even worse is the general population of the church out there, I just don't know how much anybody reads their Bible to begin with. But if there's something that is more obtuse in the Bible, it's the sections of prophecy, it's Daniel, it's Revelation, it's all of that stuff.
Right.
And they are mostly informed about that by the Tim LaHaye and Hal Lindsey's and the stupid, rapture movies. And when Brian Fisher uses these words, these are key words, and he's inciting these people to get up in arms. That's what really is insidious about what he's doing, and I can't stand the fact that he's inciting fear and hatred and fanning the flames among the gullible and the faithful.
Oh, yeah.
So
the sheeple.
Shame on you, Brian Fisher, because, if you think about it, the Antichrist spreads division and hate and fear, and Fisher, you have the spirit of Antichrist. So I'm just calling you out.
All right. If there was an Antichrist spirit, it'd be Fisher and bigots like him. That's would be.
I vote for him.
You vote for the Antichrist?
Fisher, I choose you. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with you on pretty much every point you just made there. So I just I can't remember them all. So I'll just say most all of them.
Well, when I was a Christian, eschatology was what I cut my teeth on. So I spent a lot of time reading about it, and it's an awful thing.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, so.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
When I was a Christian too, a lot of the shit I used to believe, just like, oh my God, I can't believe I believe that shit. So, and if I was still a Christian, I'd probably be in Brian Fisher's camp on a lot of this shit too, and that scares the fuck out of me. So.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you that I have to think that the traffic on certain rapture-ready sites is probably really, really huge at certain. When I hear certain things happening, I go, oh my gosh, they must be going nuts,
Yeah.
I'm writing my rapture letter now.
Right.
Anyway,
we're kind of down a rabbit hole, but speaking of rabbit holes, let's move on to our next topic for this evening.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
And on tonight's Did You Know They Were an Atheist? We're going to talk about a guy who's been in a lot of movies. We did a movie review of The World's End. He was in that. And he's also been known in the movie Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. We're talking about Nick Frost. So, no relation to Jack Frost, the guy that keeps making winter here in Wisconsin. He's an English actor, screenwriter, and comedian, well known for, as I said, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. And he says, I quote, "I wasn't really a big film fan until I met Simon. He educated me in the way of the movie." Frost earnestly admits, "The Omen was one of my favorites. even though I'm an atheist now, I was brought up Catholic and can remember thinking that it could actually be real. The first Dawn of the Dead is a great one. We had a TV serial in Britain called Day of the Triffids. I have no idea what a Triffid is. That was always really terrifying for me as well. So he says it right there. He's an atheist. Dave, your thoughts?
He's funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my thoughts. I enjoy all of his movies. He's really funny. He always plays kind of a dumb, awkward guy, but he's a funny guy. I enjoy him.
Yeah, he's got that beard thing going on.
And as Dawkins points out, a Triffid is a plant.
Yes, I saw that. I can't imagine plants walking around. I mean, shit, that would scare me.
That's why it's science fiction.
Right.
It's not a true story like Noah.
Oh, right. Of course. What am I thinking? What was I thinking? Kind of your thoughts.
I think it's really great. I loved finding out that he's an atheist. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are just such a great duo. They're like this generation's Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello, and they play off each other so well. And my favorite, I don't know, I'm torn between his role in Hot Fuzz or in the movie we just watched, The World's End.
Right.
But I have a quote from The World's End. It's between his character Andrew and then Gary, who's Simon Pegg. And Andrew, you have a very selective memory, Gary. Gary, thanks. Andrew, I'm sorry. You remember the Friday night, and I remember the Monday mornings. Gary said, "Yeah, that's why we're going back on a Friday." And he's got this real, I don't know. I love how he's basically this put upon straight man, or he's kind of clueless, and he's just a lot of fun to watch on screen. So
absolutely. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just go ahead. I was like, I also was. Go ahead.
Do I need to say something more?
No, I thought I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought maybe you thought I was cutting you off.
No,
okay.
no. Well, and I loved in Hot Fuzz, I loved how he loved the buddy cop movies because my husband really likes them, and we watched a lot of them. I happen to like Point Break and Lethal Weapon and Die Hard myself, and so his character is making all these references. He's just this little sweet little quiet town, and he really would love adventure. He's always asking Simon Pegg's character, what about this movie? What about that movie? And that's where he says, do you ever shoot your gun in the air and just scream, ah, It's really great. He's just, it was a lot of fun. Those are my two favorite movies of his.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, well, if you get a chance to watch him in the movies we mentioned, and he's also got a Twitter, and his Twitter account happens to be Nick J. Frost. That's NICKJFROST. So you can follow him on Twitter. So
it just happens to be that?
It just happens to be that.
Interesting.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
I was going to say, it's an awful strange coincidence.
What a crazy random happenstance.
It just happens to be that. It just his name was there. You go, oh, that must be mine. Anyway, you can find him on Twitter, and you can always find us on YouTube, of course. And if you want to get in touch with us, the number is 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727. Give us a call and tell us what you think. And we'll be back next week with a longer show and maybe even a guest. Who knows? So if you come to the show, you'll find out. So we'll see you next week. This has been Packard Pokes At. We just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.